But first...
Hello, possums!
Tributes continue this morning, of course, for Barry Humphries, the genius behind Dame Edna. Our Ross is in Los Angeles for us. He was a global star, wasn't he, around the world?
Absolutely. I was so lucky to see him out here. The farewell tour back in 2015 absolutely stormed it. You know, lucky to interview him as Dame Edna a couple of times over the years. And you think back, some of those great TV performances, the Dame Edna Experience, that great Royal Variety performance when he was in the box with Charles and Camilla. I know you've got that one coming up later, you know, as Dame Edna. And Parkinson with Jonathan Ross. I watched that one just a couple of hours ago. It was just so good. And I know that you had him and her on the show as well. But he always did that thing. And one of the first interviews I ever did was when I was about 17 in radio in Glasgow. And he did that clever thing where somebody else found out a little bit about you. So you'd be doing the interview and then suddenly, you know, it'd be like, and so your mum and dad there, David and Isabel, must be so proud. And then would throw something and you go, how the heck did he know? How the heck did she know that? And suddenly, you know, you name your sister Elaine and all, and where you lived and
I know. It was so
brilliant.
So
was
sharp.
It the same for you?
Yeah, so sharp and so clever. Also shared some words of wisdom when she was last on the sofa. You pioneered, you know, the chat shows.
I almost created the talk show.
Well, you did, and you'd have invented
because
so many
my view
things.
is this. The thing about a talk show is that it's a monologue interrupted by strangers.
Exactly.
For example, and I adore Lorraine, but frankly, viewers, do we need her on this programme?
No, we don't. We really don't. I love that. Don't you love that? A monologue interrupted by strangers. Oh, what a fantastic... So again, just so clever. Made it look absolutely effortless. Oh, just sadly missed. But we've got all the clips, Ross. We've got all the clips to enjoy.
Looking forward to all. I'll see you later. I got an apology from Matthew Perry, not to me personally, but to a big star. And Brad Pitt in the British Grand Prix. I'm not kidding. All coming up.
Thank you, Ross. We'll see you later on at the end of the show. Talked about Dame Edna, the royal family, also big fans. And as Ross was saying, Dame Edna famously appeared at the Royal Variety performance. Now, this is back in 2013.
They've found me a better seat.
They found me a better seat. I love it. I'm joined now by the Mail on Sunday's assistant editor, Kate Mansey. And Kate, King Charles, you can see him genuinely laughing and having fun. And he's also paid tribute as well, hasn't he?
That's right. There was such a fond, connection between Barry Humphries and the King. And you can see from that sketch in 2013, there's the joy on the faces. And he has paid tribute. I understand he's written to the family, and currently the Victorian government in Australia is in talks about having a state funeral for Barry Humphries.
Wow.
But that connection was so genuine. I think the King appreciated the fact that he was surrounded by so many people, sucking up to him the whole time. But here was somebody who he could have a joke with. There was a great character that Barry Humphries had. We obviously we remember Dame Edna Everage, but Sir Les Patterson was another brilliant character. He was a sort of inebriated government official from Australia. And I remember it was a brilliant moment in when King Charles turned 50, then Prince of Wales, of course. And Les Patterson gave this brilliant kind of video tribute to the King, and he called him Chazza. And I think that sort of thing, that kind of that Aussie humour and the banter between them, and the affection was real, because of course Barry Humphries once was asked, who do you most admire in the world? And his answer was the King, then of course the Prince of Wales. And for all the work that he did behind the scenes. So I think it was a genuine friendship.
It absolutely was. Les Patterson, the cultural attaché, I remember it very well. Now, there was a bit of a celebration, wasn't there, at the weekend? Prince Louis, can't believe he's 5 already.
I know how the time flies. We had these brilliant pictures released on the eve of his birthday. It was his birthday yesterday, of course. There he is in a wheelbarrow. And that was taken earlier this month in Windsor, where they live. Now the family live, of course, in Adelaide Cottage in the garden. He's sitting atop some kind of garden cuttings. Those two images look very similar, actually quite separate. They are separate images. It's not just a zoom in of the other one. And they were taken by a woman called Millie Pilkington. And her whole thing about capturing children in camera, on camera, is to try to capture their spirit. And I think she's really done that with this. And there's a long connection between that photographer and the Princess of Wales, because they've been friends for a long time. And Millie actually took the pictures of them, of Kate and William's private wedding reception back in 2011. It'll be their wedding anniversary actually on Saturday. So it's nice to have that kind of continuity between the photographer and the family, and it really comes across here because he's known for being the cheeky chappy, isn't he?
Yeah, that's true. He's been, poor wee soul has been given that role. There he is. He's as cute as a button, I have to say. He's as cute as a button. There's lots more information coming in about why Meghan... Oh, he's a cheeky wee monkey, look at that. That's a kid, that's what kids do. That's fine. Rumours about why Meghan is missing the coronation. She's felt as if she has to kind of like really put that straight.
Well, this is interesting. This is a story that came out in the Daily Telegraph on Saturday, the emergence of a letter. And apparently the Duchess of Sussex had written to the King a couple of years ago, saying about her concerns of unconscious bias within the royal family. And there was speculation after that article that perhaps that was the reason she was not happy with the replies that she got. And that was perhaps the reason why she was staying away. Then late on Saturday night, a spokesman for the Duchess came out and said that's nothing to do with it. She's getting on with her life, living in the present, and not thinking about the past in that way. So,
well, that's the best way to address it. I think we understand though that Prince Harry is not going to be right at the front. It looks like he's going to be at the back somewhere.
Well, this was a kind of an interesting comment that arose from Paul Burrell, the former butler, as we know, who's been quite keen to comment on the royal family ever since he left their service. He's saying that Harry's going to be seated 10 rows back. Okay. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it will be very interesting to see where they do seat Harry. I can't believe he's going to be front and centre anymore because he's not an official working member of the royal family. Having said that, he's coming all the way over, and there's a lot of love for him still. So I can't imagine he's going to be right at the back in the cheap seats.
I wouldn't have thought so. Kate, thank you very much indeed.